Okay, this is Angela. I'm a dual American British citizen. I went to law school in the US and the UK, and I'm waiting for my DC bar results to become an attorney in the US. A question that I was sent was if you're considering an LLM, should you do your LLM online? And like every question about the law, the answer is it depends. So I did my LLM online, and I did it online because that was the way that made the most sense for my lifestyle. And I think if you're someone who needs things to make sense for their lifestyle, as in you don't have the ability to quit your job and study for a year or two or three, then LLMs tend to be more flexible. So now there's some JD programs which you can do online, and there's some hybrid online JD programs. So the online JD programs like University of Hawaii, I can't remember. There are a few of them. They're not that many. I think maybe New Hampshire has one. I don't know, don't quote me. Anyhow, but LLM programs tend to be more flexible anyhow. And you can totally do an LLM program online. So I was accepted into 2 online LLM programs. I was accepted to several LLM programs. Some of them you had to go in person. Some of them were online. And I chose George Mason, and a couple of reasons why I chose George Mason over the other schools. So it came down to George Mason and University of Dayton in Dayton, Ohio. And University of Dayton, I really liked the program. I really liked the woman I met with. They gave me a lot of scholarship money. They didn't give me everything. They gave me like half. And their curriculum looked really good, right? And George Mason, and here's the thing, I had never even heard of George Mason. Like, shamefully, I didn't even know who he was. I sort of still don't know who he is. But I had never heard of George Mason University. In fact, I think like anyone that lives south of the Mason-Dixon line probably knows George Mason University. But up north, I'm like, George Mason University, I never heard of it. But also I'd spent so much time in the UK that I just never really heard of it. And I never heard of University of Dayton, but like I can peg Dayton to like the city of Dayton. So George Mason University didn't give me as much money. At first they like really didn't give me any money, and I'm like, look, this is what I'm getting from University of Dayton. And then they sort of upped the scholarship to make like a big difference. But they gave me less than Dayton still. So that when I compared the two, there was part of my reasoning for picking the Flex LLM program at George Mason University was because I could drive to DC, whereas I couldn't easily drive to Ohio. So I wanted to, I didn't want to be so far removed from the law school experience that I could never really be on campus. And for some people, that's really not an issue. But I like the face-to-face interaction, but I couldn't really quit my job to go to law school in person. So I picked George Mason because I could drive there, and also my sister lives on the drive on the way down there. I could sit the February bar for the next year. And that was I could for Dayton as well. But I think when it came down to picking the 2 schools, Dayton's JD ranking was much higher than George Mason's. And so George Mason was like in the top 30s, and Dayton was over 100. Plus the fact that I couldn't really drive to Dayton. So that made a difference for me. And if you're considering sitting the New York bar, you don't want to do your LLM online. New York's will not accept online LLMs. So hope I've been helpful.